since we're so hilly, there were dams everywhere, and the farmers needed sawmills and grist mills and whatnot for their agricultural enterprises. And then the Moodus River was a main river, and a bunch of enterprising businessmen got together and said, you know, we can use this river. And suddenly they started building cotton mills when cotton came along as the major cloth rather than wool. And so then we had an influx of Irishmen. The mill owners couldn't find enough farm kids that wanted to work in their factories, so they encouraged a bunch of Irish who were having the potato famine at the time. You know, there's, in the middle of the 1800s, they were all starving to death, so they came over here to find jobs. And so the Irish came first. And right about that same time, there was an influx. The potato disease also hit Europe, and it hit Bohemia. And Bohemia was having somewhat of a famine. There were a lot of Bohemians that came here, but they were more farmers. And they came to New York, and they were restive. They didn't want to work in factories or everything. And then one Bohemian found out that he could buy a farm in East Haddam for $6 or $8 back taxes. And suddenly there was an influx of Bohemians, and there was an influx of Irishmen. And suddenly there was a Catholic church, St. Bridget's, and there was a Bohemian Farmer Society. And actually, the old Yankees probably said, "Oh, okay, they're okay people. We'll, you know, assimilate." And then the second generation Irish, the Irishmen that came over here wanted something better for their children, so they didn't want their children to work in the mills. So the children went off to do something else, and there again, they didn't have enough workers. So then they brought a bunch of Polish people into the town. And in the meanwhile, there was a Jewish community of farmers, actually. There were many Jewish farmers that had come to town. So when I grew up, we were sort of a cosmopolitan group. And we told stories about bohunks and mix and Jews and Yankees. And we were all, you know, we didn't think it was politically incorrect. We were all laughing at each other's jokes. We all loved each other. We came together in school and every place else, and there wasn't any, I imagine there were a few individuals, but I didn't discern anybody who didn't respect and even love their neighbors, no matter what they were, who they were, where they came from. So I grew up in a town that wasn't just one old Yankee kind of a town. It was some that took in all these and nurtured them, and we grew up together. And so I thought this town was doing okay, pretty good, you know, as far as bigotry in any way.